So the real complaint in healthcare is discriminated practices. You know, you go in there, you try to get healthcare, you don't get care because they didn't fucking care about you. You know, and that's something we've been talking about, caregiver burnout. Um, so there's actually research on that. So, turned out, you know, people who didn't care at all, they were actually the ones who got burnt out. People who do truly care, you know, they don't burn out the same. Sometimes they have to take a break to recover because when you witness trauma and the things like the reality in this world, it is traumatic. You know, when you see somebody die, when you lose a patient you love, when you see a mother losing the child in her arms, you know, like you're talking about depth, you know, in order to be a truly compassionate person and to provide quality care, you're going to look for these qualities in people. You know, you're also going to look for culture. You're also going to look for, you know, people who are just broken a little bit so they know what empathy is. And it's like, if you grew up in your little bubble, you got your fucking little degree, you got your privilege, you never been through any hard knocks, you know, you're not going to know how to relate to your patients, a majority of your patients in this country. You know, so, and also you're not going to have the same exposure to, like, say, if I go and I work for detox clinics and I'm administering Narcan and I'm dealing with the drug addiction populace that you continue prescribing your fucking drugs, your synthetic drugs that, you know, they're not even high on our drugs, but you want to blame us for. You know, so like all of these things, you know, and then you start to see, you know, their wounds, the botulism, wound care. Yeah, I mean, there are so many things. You know, you're going to see bed bugs, you're going to see warts, you're going to see STDs, you're going to see people who were raped, you're going to see, you know, people who come through really hard lives. You know, so like there's a lot to learn about people. A lot of people too, like not everybody, but there's a handful of people who lost their parents when they were kids. You know, so like they didn't have that guidance, they didn't have that protection, and then you punish them for it. You know, so like there are people in prison where they should have been rehabilitated and they weren't. They were treated like worse than you treat a fucking dog. You know, and that's also, you were feeding